Okay, let's debrief on the budget 2025. Now, I am somebody, if you don't know, who teaches financial literacy, and I'm a bit obsessed with trying to work out how this is actually going to impact you and your finances and managing your money. So this is going to be a longer video, so I've put timestamps below so you can skip to the bits that you're most interested in, and feel free to hold down the 2x speed. Let's debrief together so you can tell me what you're thinking as well and what your take homes are. So on budget day itself, I sat down with my notes and I was thinking, right, let's watch this speech. And you may have been aware, but basically the OBR published the full report for the budget, kind of telling everything that's going to be in the budget about 15 minutes before it actually happened, which obviously was not meant to happen. So that was an interesting start anyway. There's been so much speculation around this budget, hasn't there? There's been so much in the news, people predicting what's going to be in there. Now, I did have the opportunity about 10 days before the budget to interview the Chancellor. And a number of times she did say, you know, wait for the budget, wait for the budget. So when the announcement happened, I don't know about you, but I was trying to sit there with what was kind of thinking about what had been predicted, plus the OBR report, thinking how much of this matches what was in the news and what the headlines were saying were going to happen. And some things did happen, but then some things didn't. So starting with something that didn't happen, which was changes to council tax broadly, because there were rumours. What did happen was the mansion tax. So the 2 million plus houses from 2028 would have taxes come into play. 4 main things that did get announced that I thought it'd be just good for us to chat about. If I miss anything, please put it in the comments and let me know things that you think are really important to you and what it means for you as well. So the first one is the freeze on tax thresholds, a further freeze until 2030-31. There's a couple of other terms that people are using for this. It's fiscal drag and stealth tax, because what's going on here is basically as your pay goes up, hopefully over the next few years, the tax thresholds don't go up. So more and more people get dragged as their pay goes up into higher tax brackets. So it's something that you might not feel today, but in 3 years' time, that's when you're going to start to feel it. Now, I always think it's helpful to see what this looks like in terms of numbers. So just looking at the personal allowance for tax, so you know we have this like £12,570 that we don't have to pay tax on. If you were to increase this with inflation, say inflation was 2% per year, let's just for the example, it would have gone up to £14,000, that personal allowance. But instead, it's still going to be at £12,570. So you can see how if you're earning more chunk of your income would be taxable. So what does this mean for you? It just means that as you look ahead to the future and you're thinking about pay scales, thinking about your job, income, it's something to be aware of. And I always think it's good to familiarise yourself with tax calculators online so that if you know you've got a pay rise coming up, you can calculate what tax you're going to have to pay. So when you're building your budget, you know what money you've got to work with. Okay, one that I was really keeping a close eye out for was the cash ISA allowance. Because, oh my goodness, the rumours have been going. I think since June, there's been talk about reducing this ISA allowance. In the UK, we can put £20,000 across all our ISAs in per year. But of course, in the budget, it was announced that the cash ISA portion can only be a maximum of £12,000 per year. This is April 2026. Now, the reason behind this is to try and get more people investing. When you look at the UK compared to other countries, we don't have a massive investing culture in this country. I think in the UK, about 1 in 10 people have stocks, whereas in other countries, it's higher. Sweden, it's more like 2 in 5. And obviously, if you have cash sitting in an account for a long time, you could get better returns through investing. So this is the kind of idea behind it. Now, my opinion on this is that I think one of the big blockers to people investing, and I talk to lots and lots of people about investing and why they wouldn't invest, is education. I think we never get taught investing, but also there are risks involved with investing. And someone made a really good point recently that after you look at the last few years we've had, taking risks right now just feels more difficult than usual. Just think we need to up the education around investing so people know what they're doing, because if the less educated you are about investing, if you start investing, the more risky it is because you may not know quite what you're doing. Okay, another point I wanted to touch on was the increase in taxes on dividend income, property and savings. I have my own business and I know the pressures that come with being a business owner, a small business owner. And so I actually didn't see this one coming. Business owners often take a mixture of salary and dividends to make their income tax efficient. And so obviously this is going to have an impact to small business owners. And I really, really hope this doesn't put people off from starting a business at a time when we really need people to be innovating and starting businesses. I nearly forgot to mention this one, but we must talk about the pension contributions. Salary sacrifice into pension contributions is going to be capped at £2,000 before national insurance kicks in. Now, obviously, the more you contribute to your pension, the more it's going to affect you. In the UK, 14.6 million individuals are currently under saving for retirement already. So when I heard this announcement, I was thinking of this stat straight away. I was thinking about, how do we keep motivating people to save for retirement? Because this affects not just the employee, but also the employer. So it might be that employers contribute less into people's pensions as well for their employees. We really need more people saving for retirement, but I do feel like this is going to make it harder. And last but not least, I just wanted to talk about the end of the 2-child limit to universal credit. The Chancellor announced this would lift approximately 450,000 children out of poverty. And one of the things I've been doing since this announcement is just looking online, seeing what the opinions are on some of these decisions. And on this one is such a range of different opinions. Some people are absolutely thrilled by this. Lifting 450,000 children out of poverty is a good thing. Other people are saying we shouldn't be spending our taxes on this. I think I sit over this end of things when it comes to this. So let me know what you think, where you sit with this stuff. And I did manage to take one of these points to the Prime Minister this week, and I've got a video on the way, so look out for that next week.